Sugar is a product that is used in practically every item of food that is sold on the market today. But just 500 years ago, sugar was a rarity in people's diets. So what changed?
The most common consensus is that sugar cane originated in the Middle East, most specifically New Guinea and India. It is not known where it grew first or if both regions had it at the same time. From India and Asia, sugar slowly but surely spread along the Silk Roads early in the 6th century. It was considered a fine spice that could only be acquired through trade as it was only suitable to grow in a specific latitude of tropical regions. Sugar did not take off and grow on a large scale until the New World explorations began and the land was used for the planting of crops to give economic splendor. In the 18th century, sugar grown in the Spanish colonies was usually grown through coerced labor or by slaves. From there, sugar could now be sold massively, much more than it could before, and it spread to all places in the new Atlantic trade system, especially in the triangle trade. It became a common commodity.
The initial value of sugar in Europe was so high that only the wealthiest people tied to the crown had access to it. The crop could be cheaply produced on land perfectly suited in the New World and shipped back to Europe, and the Portuguese and Spanish took advantage of that. The Portuguese gained massive profits, making Brazil the top sugar-producing region. From 1625 to 1750, sugar was even worth its weight in gold. As the amount of sugar increased, the value significantly decreased, allowing common people to buy and taste the product. The demands ran high. The profits in Brazil peaked in 1650 due to the English and French starting production in other places. The Caribbean islands were producing 90% of the sugar consumed by Europeans. Sugar provided sweetness to other imports such as tea, coffee, and chocolate. In addition, the byproducts of sugar production, such as molasses and rum, were also introduced through the sugar industry. This overall brought greater wealth to the regions, capitalizing on the sale of sugar in both Europe and the Americas, and introduced new products leading to the creation of many sweet dishes, including the baked goods that Europeans are known for today. The populations in the Americas drastically changed due to the labor needed for sugar production. European settlers quickly realized that the natives were not a good source for free labor due to the high rate of deaths. This caused the importation of African slaves, who became a very large portion of the settled population.
As you know, Brazil was the world's leading producer of sugar and imported the most slaves. At first, colonists enslaved native Indians to provide the necessary workforce for this labor-intensive crop, but the Indians quickly fell victim to foreign European diseases or fled to different parts of the country. Because of this, the Portuguese turned to the Atlantic slave trade and began importing African slaves. From 1519 to 1866, Brazil imported almost 4 million slaves. In the 17th century, the peak of sugar production, 7,000 slaves were imported into the country every year, and by the end of the century, Brazil had about 150,000 slaves, which made up half of its total population. Though not all of the slaves imported were destined to work on sugar plantations, the production of sugar required a lot of backbreaking work that was assigned to them. The mass production of sugar gave common people more accessibility to it, unlike previous times where only wealthy people could afford it. Sugar added a new character to foods, especially desserts. A prime example is a French dessert called cherry clafoutis. The sugar in this recipe adds a distinctive sweet taste to the dessert.
Overall, sugar not only created the basis of the wealth of the Portuguese and Spanish, but it also broke down societal barriers that caused the displacements of thousands of natives and Africans. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let us know.